Hit it, Fergie. Don't even get me started. Okay, guess we gotta waste more breath on this discovery. How's it going, everybody? If you have spent any amount of time on the internet over the course of the past, 3 weeks, you've probably had the misfortune of stumbling across videos like this.
We finally know what's underneath the pyramids, and these discoveries are groundbreaking.
Or like this.
Structures so deep they might form an entire hidden city.
Or even, regrettably, like this. About a week ago from as I'm filming this right now, I woke up one morning to have my Instagram Reels feed just completely filled with the same conspiracy nonsense over and over again about the exact same thing that I had never heard of in my life. All of them essentially just parroting the exact same thing as one another about this groundbreaking discovery that changes everything.
Narrative shattering.
Season 2 Mr. Beast Lab swarmed.
Enhanced by AI.
Spirals.
That is, of course, the Khafre pyramid discovery. And this claim spread so far, so fast, that later that week, I was literally asked onto Piers Morgan to talk about it.
Yes or no, UFOs have visited Earth and governments are keeping it secret.
Sounds cool, man. No idea.
That's how you know the situation has gotten completely out of control. Now, I made a short about this a little while ago. I talked about it on, Piers Morgan, but I wanted to make a bit more of a definitive piece so that I can say all of this once and hopefully never have to say any of it ever again. Okay, so first and foremost, there's already a whole bunch of videos about this discovery that my colleagues have done that are way more eloquent than I am. They break down a lot more of the study and the technology behind it, and really get into sort of the technical nitty-gritty side of things. Now, in this video, I'm going to give a bit of a TLDR on this whole situation, and really the thing we're going to be diving into is just the absolutely insane spread of the bullshit surrounding this story. So I'd really recommend after this video going to check out Ancient Architect's video on this research. He does a really great job of breaking it down in a level of technicality that I think is really important for everyone. And there's also a great video by Flint Dibble that talks to a researcher that's familiar with this type of satellite data that they used here that I think everyone should familiarize themselves with as well. So links to those videos will be in the description. I'm gonna do my thing now. So I've been sort of hoarding crazy person Instagram reels for the last week. And so largely what I want to do in this video is go through just how crazy it is that misinformation can spread so fast and so far. And we're all going to lose some brain cells together watching some videos that I haven't even really had the guts to watch all the way through until now. Because I'm only going to do it once, and so it might as well be on camera. But before that, let's give a little synopsis of what the whole situation is here for anyone who's not aware. So the claim goes like this. In a press conference earlier this month, a couple of researchers claimed that they found evidence of 8 2-kilometer-long cylindrical structures underneath Khafre's pyramid. Khafre's pyramid is the middle of the Great Pyramids. You might know it as being the second one from the left or the second one from the right. This is the image that most of us are probably familiar with about this discovery. I don't think I have ever used the word discovery more liberally in my life. We see the columns stretching down into the ground with some spiraling things around them and then 2 massive chambers at the bottom. Now that image looks pretty convincing, right? I mean, you wouldn't just pull a technical looking image like that out of your ass to mislead people, right? Right? Now, while the conspiracy accounts will proudly show you this image, what many of them will conveniently leave out is this image, which is the image of the actual data that they got. Okay. Whew, it's cold in here. 40 degrees. Here I was thinking spring was coming. You guys saw my April Fool's video.
Sorry, I left my vat of Vaseline here. My bad.
This is us. Just wait for it. And that 55-gallon of Vaseline.
Jeez, I'm sticky. I know. We need you leave 2 dudes alone on a nice day with a vat of Vaseline, you know? You better have Kleenex.
I was outside. Sun was shining. Birds were tweeting. I was covered in Vaseline. Gotta love it. Okay, what was I talking about? Yeah, so this is the data that they actually got from this. And then they interpreted this data into this, which I don't think is very honest, and I could even say really fucking misleading. So the way that this data was acquired, this data, not the, fan art that they made of it, was through
synthetic aperture radar,
or SAR. SAR technology is sort of similar to an ultrasound, the thing they baby with. And you might be thinking, well, if I was looking for a chamber 2 kilometers underneath the Pyramid of Giza, the height of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on the planet, I'd probably use something other than an ultrasound. And you'd be right, considering this SAR technology does an absolutely dogshit job of actually penetrating into the Earth. But to their credit, the researchers don't actually claim that this is ground penetrating radar going into the ground. Rather, they use the SAR data alongside Doppler tomography data, and they claimed that by looking at both of these pieces of information combined, they were not looking into the Earth, but they were analyzing micro movements in the Earth, which they could then interpret to see shapes underground. Now again, you can check out Flint's video to learn more about this because he talks to someone who specializes in this stuff. I am not a ground penetrating radar or sonar expert. So all of this data, which I might also add, was acquired from a satellite 680 kilometers above the Earth, produced this piece of data, which was then interpreted as this. I think we should do more ultrasounds from high Earth orbit. I feel like that could be a niche that could be quite profitable. So anyway, this data was then not published. It was discussed in 2 different press conferences, one of which was hosted by a former member of, what was it called again? InfoWars. Wow. Actually very proud to have forgotten the word InfoWars. I could go my whole life never seeing that again and I'd be fucking thrilled. Wow, Milo from the future. I wanted to just pop in real quick to warn you guys, I will put on a different hat later in this video. I know, and I'm really sorry. I just had to give you advance warning. I'm kidding. I'm here because when I exported this last batch of footage, I noticed something was wrong with the autofocus, and so it decided that my computer was the thing that needed to be in focus. The issue that I found was that my camera was not set to face autofocus, it was set to pet autofocus, which still doesn't really explain why it focused on my computer. But fucking who knows? I fixed it now. Milo, couldn't you go back in and just reshoot all of that? No. Absolutely not. Myself and the rest of the world have already wasted enough of our collective breath on this stupid fucking theory, and so I'd rather dedicate my time to making videos about like actual archaeology and things that there's at least some, evidence for. Like the Octagon Earthworks video. It's gonna be the next one that comes out, hopefully. It's about a site with actual sacred geometry and astronomical alignments, and not this stupid sensational bullshit. So look, here's a cool clip of it.
Alignments to all 8 of those are built into this architecture. It goes on a perfectly straight path, almost like a microcosm of the ancient indigenous North American cosmos.
Wow. Wasn't that pretty cool? Hooks in ya. Come back in 2 weeks. Okay, anyway, I'll let you get back to Milo with the other hat now. Anyway, so one of the people at this press conference was apparently a guy formerly from InfoWars. That's the level of credibility we're dealing with here. Then I think it was picked up by actual InfoWars, at which point it was picked up by the Joe Rogan Experience, which proceeded to chew it up and mama bird regurgitate it into the mouths of every insufferable dude bro with a microphone. And that is how this thing that I can't even stress enough how little information we actually have on it has turned into probably the most discussed archaeological topic of the year so far. Now, I think it's also important I mention a little bit about the researchers who are providing us with this. One of them, Armando May, is a self-taught Egyptologist, which is, as we've discussed in previous episodes, a guy who likes Egypt. Now, apparently self-taught in this case just means read a lot of books about conspiracy theories about ancient Egypt. In the March 16th press conference, he speculated that this information could imply that the pyramids and the structures around them are 36,000 years old, and is one of the people who's a big proponent of all the astronomical alignment things as well. So, take that for what you will. Now, the team leader is even more reputable, as he is actually a published author. Corrado Malagana, the team leader, has published books like this one, and like this one. Now, I'm not saying that these things are enough to write this theory off on principle, but they're not doing it any favors. This is one of the really big problems I have with this entire thing. I am all for researching this more. I said that on Piers Morgan, I will say it now. I think that seeing an anomaly under the pyramid is something that should be looked into. We should look more into refining this SAR technology that they were using. But I think it is so wildly manipulative to turn this data into this image, which you don't even bother to get published, and went straight to literally the most mainstream mass media outlet on the planet. Joe Rogan fans talking about the mainstream media and then saying in the next breath, it's the most listened to podcast in the world. Fuck it, never mind. Now, the claims for what this is have ranged everything from them being support structures to them being a giant power generation system. There's about a million things wrong with these actually being man-made structures. One, this is so wildly below the water table. I don't know how they would have done this. Two, this is a structure that is built on top of limestone bedrock. So how did they do this? And why would they have done it for support structures if it's already built on bedrock? Then the kind of other obvious one is we have no other context that would make this make any sense. Like if we were finding all kinds of structures underneath the other pyramids and we found evidence of like smaller ones, or this resembled a structure that was built in other places in Egypt, maybe I'd be like, yeah, okay, so we have a little bit of context that this is worth looking into. But I'm like, we literally don't see this anywhere. This is just completely contextualist. And really just the fact that this sonar image was turned into this is absolutely laughable. This would be like me walking into your living room with like a thermal camera or something and noticing sort of like a warm spot on your wall and being like, elves. You got a family of elves nesting in your walls. Like, yeah, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but not really, because this is like Schrodinger's pyramid. No one, and I cannot stress this enough, no one has any fucking idea what this actually is. This is not peer-reviewed. I said this a lot in the short I made on this. Not only is this not peer-reviewed, it's like not even really published. And while that shouldn't be enough to just completely write off an idea, it's certainly reason to not just accept it at face value like pretty much every conspiracy theorist is currently doing. Okay, now I want to be a little bit charitable actually towards this research and the researchers doing it. While I'm certainly a little bit skeptical of their motives and some of the underlying biases may have, I don't think this is a bad study by any sense of the word. Now, I'm going to lay aside for a second the actual research of what's underneath the pyramid and look more at the technology that they were using, because that's the part that I think is the most interesting to me. I encourage these researchers to continue this study, try and get it published, and try and get it peer-reviewed, because I think there's potentially some really interesting discoveries to be made with refining the SAR technology that they used. If we could reliably use high Earth orbit satellites to analyze, micro movements in the Earth to predictably detect cavities underground, that could be a pretty groundbreaking technology. What I would suggest to the researchers if I was part of a hypothetical peer review team researching their paper is first, I would like to see evidence of how this SAR technology actually works. The way that they would do this is by going to an area that has well-documented underground cavities and cave systems and using this technology there and seeing if they can align the data they got from the satellite with the known data of what we have. Again, science always works from the known into the unknown. So right now, what we know about this is so very little that the far unknown is just complete speculation. Another piece of this puzzle that I sort of came across while doing this is that I think there's like actual documented cavities underneath the pyramid, not like, man-made structures, but it's just limestone, so of course there's cavities, and those didn't show up on this technology. I have no citation for this. This is just something I stumbled across. I didn't fact check this really heavily, but this is part of the reason why I think that this technology should be refined a lot further, and that should be the direction that these researchers take it before bringing it to claim that they've made the most groundbreaking discovery in all of archaeology. I just think they're putting the cart before the horse a little bit. Now, I am almost kind of shocked to say this, but this is also almost the unanimous agreement within like the leading figures in the alt history space as well. Even the two alt history guys that joined me on Piers Morgan were in full agreement with me and Flint about this being something that is just way too early to say and needs more research. The people who tell you that they know exactly what this is are completely full of shit. Granted, the people who tell you that this is noise and not like an actual structure are based a little bit more in reality than the people who tell you that it's a power generation structure. So I don't want to make it sound like those two things are, equated to one another. But the people who are hopping on the bandwagon and making videos about this being a power generation structure are, how can I put this really nicely? shameless grifters who have no fucking idea what they're talking about. And for anyone that does believe that this noisy data is actually showing something beneath the pyramids, it's a fucking ink blot test. Like, you can just look at that and then take whatever biases you have and just say that that's what it is. I think it's a power generation structure. I think that it's a lost city. I think it's what they talked about in the Emerald Tablets.
Potentially corresponding to the legendary halls of Amenti described in the ancient Egyptian mythology, the Emerald Tablets.
I think it's giant fucking pickles, okay? I don't know. So in the wake of this coming out, every single conspiracy account picked up on it. But the thing that was the most shocking to me, and the reason I'm motivated to make this video, is because I saw actual science communication accounts talking about this. Like actual ones, like ones that I've followed and are very reputable. And while they did a much better job of talking about like, this isn't peer reviewed, this isn't published, they'd still talk about like, there's theories that this is a power generation structure. And then all the fucking comments would be like, see, I told you guys it's a power generation structure. Along with a lot of comments rightfully calling them out for being super academically dishonest. There's one that I'm thinking of in particular that took the video down, but good, don't fucking do that shit. It just blew my mind seeing people that like are dedicated to academic honesty thinking that it's a good idea to even utter the words power generation structure as if it has some credence to it. Because the people that think this is a power generation structure don't give a shit about academic honesty. They're not gonna be like, well, she said it might be a power generation structure, but it's not peer reviewed, so I'm not gonna speak too soon. They're just gonna hear power generation structure and just fucking regurgitate it to the next guy. So please, for God's sake, for all of you watching, and for all of you that watch science communication accounts, if they talk about this, please let them know to not fucking do that. Do it nicely. I'm not asking you to like harass these people, but like, it's amazing to me how something literally went from InfoWars to being like talked about by actual science communication accounts. It's like, guys, do like a fucking like just 10-minute Google search before you make these fucking videos. So anyway, that's the very broad overview of this whole situation, some of my opinions on it, and now it's time for the really fun part. And that is going to be looking at how brain-dead conspiracy theory misinformation accounts formed a human centipede that has, I don't even know, I don't like this analogy, that has expelled a conspiracy theory that is probably going to be talked about for the rest of my life. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is my great displeasure to dive into the rabbit hole of some of the worst videos you will ever see in your life. Oh my God, he's wearing another outfit. And now he's wearing another outfit. So maybe this isn't the best way to style this shirt, but you know what? This is how we're gonna do it. I look like a kid from summer camp. I want to pop in to let you guys know that we now officially have the second tarot card shirt, baby. This one was part of the April Fool's video, but I wanted to show it off here for those of you that hadn't seen it yet. It's got a little schminky on it. It's got a me on it, and it looks a lot better when you aren't wearing it over a shirt like this. But the full tarot design is live now. It comes in t-shirts, it comes in hoodies, and each one of those comes in this color, white-ish, black, and green. So if you want to support the channel and rep this sick design made by my wonderful partner, you can find the link to that in the description of this video. I also wanted to say real quick, I don't think I ever gave an update on the fundraiser that we did for Asheville after Hurricane Helene. I'm sure many of you probably remember the fundraiser that we did for the Halloween video where we did the vampires hoodie. Well, I am over the moon to say that we managed to raise more than $8,000 for beloved Asheville. That is an astonishing amount of money, and it's going to a charity that has worked in Asheville for a very long time, and because of that, it will continue to be working in Asheville long after things like the Red Cross and FEMA have left. So I can say with a high degree of certainty that every cent earned is actually going to be going to helping the people who are facing the long-term repercussions of the devastation from Hurricane Helene. I really want to give a very personal thank you. My partner and I have a lot of really close friends down in Asheville. It's an area that means a lot to us. One of my editors lives down in that area, and seeing so many people come together and make a difference like this is just, it makes me fucking glow. I am so immensely proud of what we have done here, and I really thank you guys profoundly from the bottom of my heart for helping make this happen. Just wanted to give that update to let you guys know that you can make a difference. Anyway, full hoodie in the description of this video. Let's get right back into it. I warned you guys about the hat change. Don't look so surprised. Now is the part that you've all been dreading. The part where I'm gonna show you the collection of crazy person Instagram reels I've been collecting. Again, I want to emphasize, I know I didn't go too in depth into the research about this story. The entire press conference, both of them were in Italian. As you can see, I've been fully naturalized as an American, where I can proudly say I only speak one language. And so again, if you want to learn more about this actual study and, you know, fill yourself out on it further, which I highly suggest you do, I really recommend you look at some of the videos from my colleagues. They're excellent. There's another one that I forgot to mention earlier. There's a great video by the YouTuber Metatron, who is a native Italian speaker who went through this whole press conference and is able to boil out a lot more of the juicy information. So I really recommend that you check that out too. There'll also be a link to that in the description. Thank you, Metatron. Fucking great video. Okay, anyway, let's, here we go. So I have all these saved in a folder, but I opened Reels first, and the very first thing to come up is one of these videos.
Crazier than we could have ever imagined as far as engineering is concerned. You know, I mean, the pyramids schmyramids at this point.
Schmyramids at this point? I want that as a tramp stamp.
With what they're finding, so yeah, this is what it looks like.
This is most definitely not what it looks like. That image was an AI-generated image derived from another AI-generated and photo-edited image. That is so wildly not what it looks like.
This diagram show you the exact scale
diagram. Oh my god, bro. It's fucking fan art
of how insane this discovery is. So up here you have
That's how you know that the video is good. Normally, you know, a study will release images of the discovery, but when it was barely a study and nothing was really discovered, all these people have to go off is just making AI-generated video with spooky sound effects.
Khafre's pyramid. It stands 471 feet tall. You know, this is so bizarre. It's definitely more impressive and...
Whoa. Did you see how quickly he showed the actual data? Well, what was that? That was like, okay, editors, can you time how quickly that was on screen for?
So, that's what we're looking at. And then, this is where it gets really, really crazy. If you zoom all the way out, this should give you a good idea of...
Oh god. This has been another thing I've seen a lot. I'm sure you guys have all seen this meme of like the obelisks underneath the pyramid. I saw that a lot before this. I've been seeing it so much now of these conspiracy like nut people being like, see, I told you. But I don't think I have ever seen it animated and so violently phallic.
And just the scale of engineering, what we're looking at, what they did. And, yeah, I guess maybe we'll find out more in years to come.
Honestly, I have a little bit of respect for whoever the guy is making this video. He doesn't make an effort to make it sound like he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Like that ending, fuck yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday we'll know what's happening. You know, power to you, dude. Honestly, maybe we will find out more in years to come. Although more in this case being an interesting stand-in for the word anything. Wait, why does my dad follow this account? Dad, my brother, what the fuck? I really like the way that this guy presents this. Listen to the fucking intro again. I didn't even catch it.
Crazier than we could have ever imagined as far as engineering is concerned. You know, I mean, the pyramids schmyramids at this point.
This guy just sounds like he could not give less of a shit. Oh, it's crazy when you think about, yeah, the fucking pyramids, pyramids, schmyramids. You know, when I someday go for like a master's thesis or like a PhD or something, I want to do my final presentation like that. So anyway, guys, what I kind of found here, like, I don't know, it's like probably one of the most groundbreaking, you know, things ever or something, but like, I don't know, maybe in the future we'll learn more about it. Who fucking cares? Let's see, where were we? Now, do you think we're gonna get another one just auto-suggested to me in my Reels feed immediately after this?
So y'all mean to tell me that
yes.
The United States school curriculum is not teaching us everything we need to learn?
Yeah, that's true. The US school curriculum isn't teaching us everything we need to learn. They're like literally destroying the United States school curriculum in front of our eyes. It's gonna be even worse than it already was. They're banning books about like fucking slavery and shit.
It seemed like they gave us all the great civilizations except for the great civilization here in America.
Oh, that's what you mean. You mean the US school system isn't teaching us about shitty, half-baked conspiracy theories.
Like TikTok and the internet is teaching me way more than school ever did.
TikTok is teaching me way more than school ever did. Oh God, we're so fucking cooked, guys.
When was y'all gonna tell me that it's pyramids all throughout this motherfucker? This is Pyramid Lake in California. They were saying it's pyramids and ancient artifacts in the Grand Canyon and how that could take you to Africa.
Okay, the fact that it is called Pyramid Lake does not actually mean that there is a pyramid in it. And that is blasting lines on the side of a mountain that they did with modern construction equipment. I don't... He's going to get to pyramids in the Grand Canyon. I'm not even going to go there. I'm stopping at Pyramid Lake in California, and I've learned more on TikTok than I ever have in school. Tells me everything I need to know. We're going to just go to the actual thing we're talking about for this video. But, oh, is it just it spinning in a circle? If the music looped better, I wonder how long it would have taken before I realized nothing else was gonna happen. I think this actually is summing up one of my problems with this really well. Conspiracy theorists have clung so hard to this, like, you know, inkblot test interpretation that it's kind of the only piece of data they actually show. They just show this one image, and then every, like, diehard conspiracy person is like, yeah, that's enough for me, looks fucking good.
For millennia,
the
Great Pyramid of Khufu has stood over the desert sands.
I realized again, I just randomly scrolled, and it's just another video about the same thing. I literally have managed to hone my algorithm to just be bullshit. Brick by fucking brick. All I get is conspiracy theories about the pyramids.
Defying time and human understanding, a monument of stone, it has carried its secrets through the ages until now.
Oh my God, it's just, how do people look at this and they're like, yeah, that sounds like science to me. This is also the thing I want to draw here. I want to draw a distinction between the researchers that are working on this and the people who are parroting it in the human centipede. While I do have my problems with the way that the researchers went about presenting this information, the problem that I really have is just with the human centipede. Because of course the conspiracy theorists are gonna cling to the most sensational information. They don't give a shit about academic integrity.
Pyramids were not built on the surface to honor the dead. They were constructed as anchors, as containment obelisks, to seal something ancient and immense.
I literally cannot listen to that voice. Beneath the earth, they snealed.
Peener snipper guy. These newly discovered chambers form what ancient texts called the Abyssal Vault. According to a forbidden section of the Book of Thoth, translated.
It's just so, this is strange. ChatGPT told me about the pyramids. I didn't even read the caption. ChatGPT told me this about the pyramids. ChatGPT.
I kid you not. That is what ChatGPT told me.
We are so fucked.
According to a forbidden section. According to a forbidden. Translated only once.
Oh, they're doing Billy Carson genre pseudoscience. The Emerald Tablets, you know, they tell us about a lost city underneath the pyramids. How do I know? ChatGPT told me. I'm going back to my feed. Let's see what we got here. They're gonna show how big the bullshit is. Wow, that is pretty crazy. Yes, okay, there's a lot of people actually who are on the ball with this. That information has already been debunked. No article ever mentioned megastructures beneath the pyramids. They were talking about strange underground voids, basically air pockets. Is this how you want to be relevant? Is this how you expect to be taken seriously? By spreading false information, claiming it's real, and then using altered images to keep pushing the misinformation. Dude cooked with that comment, I'm gonna be honest. But that's what I mean, like this account, okay, to be fair, this account has 3,000 followers, so it's not much. I'm not gonna show the names of these, but the name is something along the lines of just facts, implying that it's like a interesting fact account. So when they post something like this with absolutely no context, people are gonna see it and be like, well, that makes sense, I guess. It's from a fact account, so why the hell not? And that's another big problem I have with these conspiracies, is like, the conspiracy accounts willfully omit the information that people would need to actually understand what this is about. They are manipulating people into believing it, who likely would be able to tell that this is unverified if you actually gave them the right information.
You guys aren't gonna believe this archaeology news.
Oh, I saved this one because this is awesome. This is the Instagram account Dirt Diaries. Want to give a big shout out to her. I've seen her stuff before. It's great. And when she popped up on my feed, it was after a volley of all these actual science communication accounts talking about like, well, you know, it's not peer reviewed, but guys, some say it's a power generation structure. And I was like, please don't actually do this to me. And lo, she didn't. She made a great video talking about how it's a bunch of fucking bullshit. She's an archaeologist. You guys should go check her out. Give her a follow on Instagram. Also want to add for that one, little tip for all my people interested in getting into science communication. Take notes from that hook.
You guys aren't gonna believe this archaeology news because it's fake. Yeah, all of this fake.
That's a damn good hook. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. Why? Because it's fake. Fucking banger.
The latest revelations of what could be under Khafre Pyramid have shocked the entire world.
Could be. Could be. You see, this is how, like, conspiracy people get away with this shit. Is they'll throw in like a could be for plausible deniability. It's not peer reviewed anyway, guys. I think that it's a power plant underneath the pyramids made by aliens. And then when you call them out, they're like, whoa, man, we just said that it could be. Like, that's not enough. That's not enough due diligence to just say like, you know, hey guys, I might be talking out my ass here, but anyway, here's this giant conspiracy theory that people are not science literate enough to not fall for when I'm not giving them the right fucking information.
The structures and pylons to as much as 2 kilometers under the pyramids is just beyond anything anyone had imagined. 1 year and 1 month ago, I posted regarding this encryption of Leonardo da Vinci's work related to Khafre Pyramid. And I showed how the inner structures were matching the structures that basically were within the current pyramid itself. The slope angle matching 53 point.
Then let's actually research it. Who knows? Maybe Da Vinci found the emerald tablets under the pyramid. I don't fucking know. Nah. We ain't doing that one, boys. Okay, let me ask you this. To all you fucking people out there who are talking about the lost power generation system, where the fuck are the things that transported the power, and where the fuck are the things that actually used the power? Now, I know what they're gonna say to the first one. They're gonna say, Nikola Tesla, they found a way to do it wirelessly. And you know what? I'm not saying that there's not a way to do wireless electricity. Tesla was a fucking genius. I'm sure that he could have achieved so much more had he lived longer and been taken more seriously. But I'm not talking about Nikola motherfucking Tesla. I'm talking about ancient Egypt. And if you want to just say that they found a way to wirelessly deliver electricity, that is a cop-out for why the fuck there is literally no evidence of it. Wow, there's no fucking wires. There's no anything that could actually be powered by it. Why is that? Well, it's just because they did it through the air, and the thing it powered was the fucking, See, I can't even think of something stupid enough. Like, I think about this with the whole pyramid was a giant power plant thing, which is what this is all about. It's like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. I kind of think that theory's cool. I still have that book sitting on my desk over there from the Philip Ziba thing that I haven't bothered to read yet. I'm like, you know what? I want to look at that. I don't believe it, but like, that's kind of interesting. I think that's cool. But then the big question is, why the fuck, what do you do with that? What are you powering with this giant thing? They don't find like, you know, fucking lasers that they use. They don't find, you know, they didn't have phones. And like, I get whatever their technology is would have looked a lot different, but like, we haven't found any artifacts that would like be contextually appropriate for finding power generation systems. Occam's razor, people, what the fuck?
Have you guys heard about how they scanned under the pyramids and they apparently found like coils underneath? I just found something that might be just as crazy, if not crazier than that. This is an 1863 Cassell Publishing House Bible.
There's a lesson in this, Milo, don't be an asshole. Okay, this is one of my concerns with science illiteracy. It takes very well-meaning people and capitalizes on the fact that they may have not had an upbringing that has primed them for doing thorough and accurate research. You see how that video opened with, have you guys heard how they scanned under the pyramids and apparently found coils underneath? This woman very obviously just sort of probably saw this on TikTok or something. I doubt she watched the fucking press conference in Italian or, you know, read the other things that these guys have put out. And I'm not blaming her for that. I don't think it should be the responsibility of the general public to read scientific papers and be engrossed in all of the fucking, like, jargon and into the space. That's not their job. It's the job of science communicators like myself and others to take what's learned in academia and make it something digestible and entertaining for the public. But when we don't have enough science communicators, that niche is filled by conspiracy theorists who will take this sensationalized information and they'll be the ones to convey it to the public. So a woman like this, who again, no shade at all, probably doesn't have a whole lot of literacy in the world of archaeology or history, at least just by hearing this, it doesn't sound like it. Again, not her responsibility. I don't blame her at all for that. That's not shade. She'll hear about this discovery from those conspiracy accounts, and the conspiracy accounts will willfully leave out the information that she needs in order to draw the conclusions that she would likely be able to draw herself if they gave her the proper information. So these conspiracy accounts end up manipulating very well-meaning people into believing things that are complete bullshit. Now, yes, she does go into the Bible here, and I'm not going to talk about that part because I'm not here to talk about people's religious convictions. That's none of my business. And I know a lot of religious people who are very science literate, but there's sort of this Ouroboros effect where people who are raised in a more religious household may have been raised with a little bit more of a disdain towards science, or may feel as though it somehow is incompatible with their worldview, which can lead them later in life to being less responsive or less receptive to actual scientific process. So when something like this is, talked about, they can relate it back to something within their religious text or religious scriptures and use it as a support for that. So again, I'm not here to talk about religion, but I think that this is a very interesting case of these conspiracy accounts doing a disservice to the general public by manipulating them by willfully omitting information. Banger song, dude. You can't play the banger song, can you? It's probably copyright. Hold on. This one actually shows data. That's pretty cool. Infographic based on a new image from the ground-penetrating radar release, which shows the magnitude and depth of their findings. Okay, credit where credit is due. This person is one of the first ones we've actually come across to show the actual data that they got from this. And follow it up with a second one. This specimen, we asked the AI model to re-examine the SAR data and understanding the angle and parallax better. The AI has concluded this is not naturally occurring. The Great Pyramid Project has supplied the original image they published yesterday. So here's the other thing. One, a lot of trust in AI here, guys. Why the fuck would you do that? AI is the same thing that told me that it's safe for me to eat a few small rocks a day, and that, what was the other one? Astronauts drink, smoke, and get laid or something. I don't remember. And also AI needs to be trained on something, right? So I don't know what AI it is they're using. I don't know how many, examples there are of 2-kilometer long cavities underneath a pyramid that they could use to train this model to identify those that are naturally occurring and those that are man-made. Again, I just don't know a lot about what model they're using here, but they're putting a lot of faith in just AI as a whole. But yeah, and then it just goes to the graphic that they made, the Photoshop AI rendered graphic or whatever the fuck it is. And then just a fully AI image of, AI looks so bad. That's the thing that really gets me. I'm like, it just looks so, tacky. Okay, so yeah, I'll give them a little credit for showing the actual data, but they didn't actually analyze it. They just said, here's the data, and then just a montage of sensationalized images. So really not that much better than anyone else. What are people saying? The world is becoming interesting. Brother, the world has always been interesting. It makes me so sad that people have been spoon-fed this disdain for learning and for science and for giving a shit about things. And so the only thing that they want to hear is just bullshit misinformation. This is why we need fucking science communicators, guys. I mean this. If you're a generalist in something with a wide range of knowledge, you have the tools at your fingertips to be a fucking science communicator. I say this all the goddamn time. Consult with experts. Don't just, fucking go out making shit up. But guys.
Shit that's just come out?
Oh, this is insane. Yeah, I was going to send this to you as well, Jamie. I'll send you one of the most comprehensive breakdowns of it on X because it's quite stunning. So,
okay, like I said, a lot of this got big on Joe Rogan, as so many reputable things do. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Joe Rogan is open-minded in the same way that a sieve is open-minded. His mind is so open that it pretty much lets everything pass directly through it. Yes, don't get me wrong, he's a great interviewer. I really do believe that. But when you have the most mainstream podcast network in the entire world, a lot of people are gonna listen to you. And so it is from this that it became Mama Bird into the human centipede. I'm just gonna stay with this analogy, fuck it, I've made it this far. The Mama Bird into the human centipede that has become all of these bullshit videos that we have just watched, and so fucking many more. But now there's one last thing that I wanna check. And that is, I said I wouldn't say his name until I did the follow-up video a year later, but I can't resist. Has Philip Ziba made a video on this? What do you got for me, Phil? What do you got for me? Oh my God, has he not? Philip, I'm just saying, guys, it seems like Philip has slowed down on the pseudo-archaeology, actually. There's still a couple, don't get me wrong, and I'll get into them. I haven't watched them yet. I've been purposely withholding judgment because I said I'd give him time, and I'm giving him time. But it does look like, at the time of me making this video at least, he has not made a video about this pyramid discovery, which is excellent. Hats off to you, Philip. That's great. Now, I assume that he will. He either just hasn't heard about it yet or hasn't bothered to turn on his phone. I don't know, one or the other. But it is my hope that when I inevitably have to talk about that video, it is done in a way that is academically honest, not misleading. Right? Okay, anyway, guys, that's all the guts I have for that right now. Believe me, even when I see bullshit like this in the news, I get a little piece of me that just glows seeing people getting excited about archaeology. That glow is, however, violently overshadowed by the dark cloud that is realizing that this passion for archaeology is being taken advantage of and manipulated by massive mainstream misinformation media outlets and the lampreys that suck them. Mainstream media and the lampreys that suck them. That's delightful. So again, I want to emphasize, if you saw some of these videos before watching this and thought to yourself, whoa, that's actually pretty cool, and sent them to your friends and kind of believed it, fully believed it, whatever, that's not your fault. My point of making this video is to show how these videos willfully manipulate their audience. When I was a kid, I remember one of the stairwells of my middle school, someone had actually written gullible on the ceiling. Hilariously, they spelled it wrong. But I think about it every once in a while because it's a play on that gag where you'll tell someone, hey, it says gullible on the ceiling, and they'll look up and it says nothing, and you're like, ah, what a fucking idiot. And I always thought that was really weird because most people are very trusting. If you just kind of tell them something, their first response is not immediately to think that you're lying to them. And that's exactly the case for these videos. They're telling you that it says gullible on the ceiling, and then they're punching you in the head so that you can't look up. So again, I just want to emphasize that it is no one's fault for kind of falling for these videos. They're designed to manipulate you. And I want to give a really big thank you to anyone who did sort of believe in this and has got this far in this video for watching this video. I really recommend you watch the videos by my colleagues as well, because it'll fan those flames of the passion of archaeology that you have and also give you real, verifiable information. Despite what that guy said earlier, you are never going to learn more on TikTok than you did in school. So anyway, if you have any friends that have been talking about this and you don't know how to address it with them because you don't, speak the language as well, that's totally cool. Send them this video or send them one of the videos by my other colleagues. It'll help inform them a little bit more. It's also really hard for the layperson who doesn't have a bunch of experience in this field to combat misinformation even when they see it. There are so many comments in those videos of people seeing that bullshit and rightfully being like, hey, this is complete misinformation. But unless they've spent the time to actually research it, it's really hard to actually articulate how and why, which is the disadvantage that real science will always have to pseudoscience, because pseudoscience doesn't need to back up any of its claims. They can just say shit and you kind of have to take their word for it unless you research it further. So again, I hope you all leave this video with a greater understanding of this topic and a greater passion to maybe look a little bit deeper into these things in the future. If you liked this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you left an interaction on the video. It can be your way of helping me continue to make educational content for free on YouTube, because interaction like comments, likes, and shares helps educational content do better in the algorithm, which is dominated by fucking Mr. Beast or something. And if you're not done folding your laundry or doing your dishes, why don't you check out another one of my videos? If you're interested in some real fascinating hidden archaeology, why don't you check out my video on the Great Circle Earthworks? And feel free to share this video with any friends that you feel might get a kick out of it as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching this video. I'd like to give a huge thank you to my patrons on Patreon who make what do here possible. As they say, patrons get early ad-free access to all of my videos, and all of their names will be in the credits of this video as a small token of my appreciation. If you'd like to become a patron, link to that is in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to stay curious, stay inquisitive, and most importantly, remember, don't believe everything you read in Italian. That's good.